everyone, and welcome to Be Life, the first live streaming show for beauty, health, and wellness. Today's episode focuses on something you may not have thought much about, and that's eye health. Eyes are the window to the soul. Today, our eyes are constantly inundated with high-energy blue light from digital devices, commercial lighting, and even direct sunlight. Our kids are playing with tablets, mobile phones, and gaming devices at a very young age, and the potential for long-term damage to our eyes is very real. Today, we'll offer some ways to protect your eyes and combat blue light damage. Let's welcome Dr. Venus Ramos. Hello.
Hey.
Nice to see you.
Very
Thanks for joining us. And dietitian and, can we say, fitness master,
Of course you can say that.
Jay Sanatan. Hey, buddy.
How's it going?
Good, how are you? All right, guys, let's get down to the nitty-gritty. Blue light and eye health. It's been like the burning question on everyone's mind, but really it's quite important.
Especially today with all the technology, iPads, iPhones, and
Right.
everybody on it.
Yeah.
You know, big issue.
Big issue. I know when I turn my phone off at least like 2 hours before bed, I'm not talking like airplane mode, just completely shut it off, turn off my overhead lights, use just candles or smaller lamp lights. I sleep so much better. It's like my brain isn't overstimulated and my eyes aren't strained.
It's very difficult. I mean, I myself, I hate to admit it, but right here on the set before coming here, I had to turn off 2 phones and a tablet. So yes, technology is everywhere.
So you're managing 3 devices at one
Triple
time.
whammy for
Triple
the
threat.
doc.
Nice, nice. Yeah, and then you stare at the computer and you're just like, oh my God, they're dry and
Yeah.
who knows what long-term damage that's doing.
Yeah,
Kids.
we read about it all the time. Yeah, my kids, unfortunately, sometimes I give them an iPad, but we limit it to like 30 minutes a day. But even so, I don't know, every day is a good thing.
Right.
We don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
They're still young. They don't have any like problems yet.
Right.
Hopefully no.
Yeah.
But, I try to limit it as much as possible, just in case you don't know what's going to happen.
It's new kind of territory we're in, right? It's
Right.
still a big question mark
Yeah.
about long-term effects. I would say the ramping up of our use of it is
Right.
really in the past
Absolutely.
like
There-
5 to 10 years.
We're using computers and devices so much. There's even a new syndrome out there, computer vision syndrome, where it's characterized by the eye strain and the difficulty that people are having and the associated problems like headaches and things of that sort that can develop because you're staring at computers or devices for so long throughout the day. They say there's stats up to 4 hours, between 3 and 4 hours, people are spending every day staring at
I feel like I'm guilty of more than that some days. Like I write, and if I'm like working on an article or it can definitely be 3 hours just on the computer and then between the phone and,
And then TV too,
Instagram.
right? Doesn't it include TV
Yeah,
as well
yeah,
too?
Yeah, all of that damaging light can really hit the eyes and cause a lot of eye strain. So when you're one of those people who unfortunately have to look at a computer screen, say for work, it's usually a good idea to take breaks throughout the day. And there's something called the 20-20-20 rule. Basically, you make sure that every 20 minutes, you look away for a distance of about 20 feet for at least 20 seconds.
Is that just to reset, the eye and just say, okay, give it a rest?
Give it a rest. Allow it to move to a different area because when you're focused at a computer screen, your muscles are tight and focused on a certain distance and a certain type of font that they're looking at. And then when you're able just to look off in the distance, that really relaxes the eyes. And so
Opens it up, field of vision and everything.
So it
sounds like
reduces the
interval
eye
training.
strain.
It's like,
Well, no, there's
breaks
a lot
and-
of different exercises you can do
right.
just to loosen it up.
Oh, really?
Break that monotonous.
What else? Now I'm curious. I mean, do I look to the right, look to the left, look to the right?
That's actually one of them.
Really? Looking around?
Closing your eyes, looking both sides, left to right.
Today,
up
that
and
just
down.
feels so nice. Just close the eye.
Making a figure 8 as your eyes are closed, just to get the eyes moving. We're going to give you a couple tips on strengthening your eye muscles. The first one is called palming. So basically what you do is you get your hands, shake them up real good, get it nice and warm, and then you're going to cover your eyes for a few seconds. Basically what that does is it warms up the muscles in your eyes. The next one is blinking. So basically you're going to blink your eyes. What that does is just lubricates your eyes. So you got to make a conscious effort to blink your eyes because staring at the screen, your phone, TV, tends to dry out your eyes. So you want to make sure you're blinking to help lubricate it. The next one is eye rolling. So basically what this one is, it's kind of like rolling your neck, but you're going to do it with your eyes closed. You close your eyes and you're going to roll your eyes up and down in a circular motion, back and forth. The next one is called a visual scan. So basically what the visual scan is, being locked onto the computer, you're basically looking at the computer screen for a number of hours or however long it is. And what you want to do is do a visual scan of the room every so often just to break that monotonous. So for instance, focus on the background. If there's a chair back there, look at the chair. If there's a plant next to the chair, then you look at that plant. If there's a lamp next to that, then you look at that. So you're basically scanning the whole room outside of the screen that you're looking at, just so that you're breaking that monotonous vision of looking at the computer screen, whatever it is, your tablet or your iPhone. The next thing is focusing. So basically, look away from your screen and focus on one object that's away from your computer screen. If there was a person in the distance down the hall, then just look down the hall and just focus on that person for, 5-10 seconds. And then revert back to looking at your screen. The next one is called glancing. So basically with glancing, you're gonna look away from your screen. You're gonna close your eyes and you're gonna look down as your eyes are closed, and then you're gonna look up, and then you're gonna open up your eyes and you're gonna look at something different. And then you're gonna close your eyes again, look side to side, open your eyes, and look at another object. So basically, what that's doing, it's basically like what the other exercise is doing, is you're breaking the monotonous motion of your eyes looking at your computer screen and focusing on other things other than what's on the computer screen, the tablet, or TV. The next one is called near and far, which is pretty self-explanatory. Basically, what you're going to do is you're going to focus on something that's far, and then something that's close, and then something that's far again, and something that's close. Obviously, you're not looking at your computer, and what you're doing is just you're focusing on other things other than that one dimension of the computer screen. And the last one is called the figure 8. So basically with this exercise, you're going to close your eyes and you're going to imagine the number 8, and you're going to draw that with your eyes 2 to 3 times. Open your eyes and then close your eyes and then draw the figure 8 again. Basically, again, like I said before, it's just basically you're looking away from your screen and just working your eye muscles as much as possible, lubricating it so it doesn't get too dry, and then you can focus back on the computer screen. And if you do these tips, hopefully your eyes don't degenerate as too soon, and keeps your eyes strong. Be sure to follow us on social media at BrunoMD Official. Ciao.
Dr. Venus, what are some of the top symptoms of computer vision syndrome?
Well, computer vision syndrome is often highlighted by just feelings of eye strain. So you're going to feel some pain, you'll have some dryness, even some tearing because of the irritation, and developing headaches.
Yeah, those are no good. Can you tell us more about blue light and what it is?
Well, blue light is actually just a high energy light, and oftentimes it will come from these devices that we're always looking at, but it doesn't necessarily have to be artificial. It can even be from sunlight.
Mm-hmm. So we're just getting overexposure to it.
Exactly, because we're constantly either in the sun or looking at a device of some kind.
Right. So we've got a fun little experiment to show you what blue light can do to the eye, how it can damage the eye over a long-term period of time. So our fabulous crew set up this great demonstration to show us what high-energy blue laser light could potentially do to your eye over prolonged exposure. Now again, this is an exaggeration just to show you the damage that could happen to the part of the eye called the macula. So we want to make sure that all of our eyes are protected. We're going to put on these very cool glasses. Dr. Venus, Jamar, here we go.
I am protected.
Are we all protected? Everyone on set? All right. Are we ready to hit it?
We are.
Don't try this at home, kids. Go for it. Oh, now it's on.
Oh,
see the light.
I see it.
I see it.
Oh yeah, that's smoking and burning.
Wow, that's crazy.
Oh my God, look at that.
You see the smoke? It's like coming out of the, yeah. That's nuts.
It's insane.
Oh, look at
That's
that.
crazy.
Is that a flame?
Wow.
Yeah, it's like,
It's frying it.
okay.
Oh my God.
And then let's put the glasses on over it and see if that protects
Now that
the egg / my eye. There we go, turned it right off. So there's supplements that actually can do the very same thing as those glasses that will provide like sunblock or sunscreen for the eye. Wow, that was crazy. And this went right through the paper, right into the eye.
all that from light.
Yeah, needless to say, I think we need to be worried about this. We're going to give our eyes a break and toss it to Chef Chuck and Becky at the Farmers Market, where they're looking for ingredients to prepare an eye-healthy meal.
Good morning. West Coast Seafood at the Redondo Beach Farmers Market. Been doing it since the conception of Redondo Beach Farmers Market about 38 years now. And probably the best market to be in the Southland. You got the ocean, the people are fantastic. It's like a family and environment for me.
Buongiorno, ciao, ci vediamo. Come stai? Come stai, bella?
Come sta?
Vuoi vedere il pescato, vedi?
Of course.
All right, Chuck, let's get down with it. What are we talking about today, Chuck?
Today we're talking about salmon.
Let's do it.
Yeah. Where does this come from?
This is frozen kings.
Yeah?
Yeah.
There you go. Try
My
that, Bella.
goodness,
I
what
think you're going to
treatment.
love that. I think you're going
How
to
do you
love
say
it.
cheers in Italian?
Salute.
Salute.
Un
Salute.
po' di vino, huh? There. I know she likes the wine.
This is a beautiful fish.
Thank you, Chuck.
Absolutely
Thank you very
wonderful.
much.
I think I'm going to take this back to the restaurant. Hey, Beck, I'm going to take this back and cook for you.
I am all about that.
You good?
Let's do it.
Let's go. I'll wrap that up.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Beautiful. There you go.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Beautiful.
Enjoy it.
Thank you so much.
Have a great day.
Bye.
Have a great ciao. Arrivederci, Bella.
Arrivederci.
Chef, what a beautiful piece of salmon. My eyes keep going to this.
I know, it's really pretty. It comes,
Do I need to eat this whole thing today?
The salmon is the only fish really that lives in the ocean and goes into fresh water to spawn. The reason that it is this
Pink?
color,
Sure.
yeah, is to protect itself when they're in the shallow waters of the river. This is a perfect representation of astaxanthin, which is a requirement for like very good eye health. They eat plankton, they eat algae, and this is what the color is for. Also, you look at shrimp, the same thing. It's from their diet.
Wow.
Our body doesn't produce astaxanthin.
Sure.
To get the proper amount of astaxanthin that you need to help your eye health, you would need to eat that entire piece of fish.
No.
Yeah, absolutely.
How many
Target.
ounces is that, or pounds?
This is about 3.5 pounds. So it's not something you really want to try.
Yeah, nope,
Yep.
nope. And that would scare a lot of people because there's a lot of conversation about mercury and things that are in fish. So who would eat that much salmon?
You shouldn't. I mean, that's where you use supplements.
So if I combine the salmon with all these leafy greens, I'm gonna have optimal eye health.
Absolutely, and it's a delicious food also.
Right.
High in omega-3s, omega-6. It's got good fat.
Sure, but that's a lot of fish.
That's
so
a
I
lot
don't
of
think
fish,
I would
and
consume that much.
in this particular piece of fish, you would need to eat this amount every day just to maintain your perfect eye health.
That's
Yeah.
crazy. That's crazy. That's so much fish. So something that's on the top of my mind here is money and cost. A lot of people need things that are cost efficient. To
Yeah.
eat like this every day, to be able to take care of your body, it gets very expensive. Do you have other ideas and
I
alternatives?
mean, the supplements, of course, are available and very, very well engineered these days.
Well, this looks incredible. I'm so hungry now. So where are you going to take me?
I'm going to take you to the restaurant. I'm going to make an Italian dish inspired by my friend's wife.
Okay.
And I'm going to grill some salmon, put it on some vegetables, and I'm going to show you how this is all done.
I'm so lucky. Let's go.
Hi, I'm Dr. Paul Karpecki. I'm an optometrist with a focus on cornea and external disease. Blue light affects both our body and our eyes. And in small amounts, and especially during the day or morning, it's a normal thing. In fact, it sets our sleep rhythms by being exposed to blue light in the morning. In fact, people who have jet lag is an example where their circadian or sleep cycle has been altered and they can't adapt to it. So blue light can affect our body, including our sleep, but it can also affect our eyes specifically. And what it does is that it can expose the photoreceptors in the back of the eye to harmful levels of energy, and anything that is too much or overexposed can be damaging. In the short term, it might lead to issues related to headaches and other factors, but in the long run, it could actually affect our ability to see. The age groups that have seen dramatic increases in screen time actually range from very young, even as young as age 2, to the elderly. That being said, one of the areas of concern are the younger children. And the reason why that's a concern ranges from lifetime exposure to high energy visible or blue light and what that might mean in the long term. And in the short term, we're finding that it might actually also lead to what we call an increase in eye length. This increase can result in all kinds of potential diseases in the future. I think most doctors had a hunch that overexposure to high energy visible light was going to have issues. We just didn't understand the level of exposure that would occur. With today's digital device environment, there's no way to prevent people from using digital devices. And as the hours continued to increase as far as exposure to this high energy visible or blue light, we began to realize that this could pose problems. I think for me, it was probably about 7 or 8 years ago that I realized patients were having issues with digital devices, and it might have ranged from dry eye sensation and dryness, but then it seemed to evolve. It seemed to be patients coming in with headaches and neck stiffness. It evolved to patients having issues with light sensitivity. So we started to realize if these symptoms are existing, could there also be issues that are more serious? And what we discovered is that it does appear that overexposure to anything, including high visible energy light, can be damaging, especially to the sensitive cells that exist in the back of the eye, known as photoreceptors. As the years have passed, it's become more evident that there is likely to be potential long-term damage. Where I've really noticed significant changes has been in younger patients. I used to see patients have some level of nearsightedness, but today we're seeing significant levels of nearsightedness, and not just mild and moderate levels, but severe levels of nearsightedness. And not only does this require fairly thick glasses to correct, but it has long-term risks, such as eye diseases that develop because of the elongation or lengthening of an eye. And we're seeing that now in younger patients and more frequently. We believe that this is likely due to near tasks, high visible energy light, but that exposure to digital devices for those near tasks could have long-term effects for these patients and these children 30, 40, 60, or 80 years from now that we don't know the effect or the severity of what it could be. For children, screen time is now a normal part of their life. They use it for socializing, education, entertainment, and the list goes on. Yet this area of understanding is evolving, and the potential risks to our eyes and to our health are significant. So the onus is on the parents to take the time to understand what is happening with this condition, to understand the potential ramifications or consequences of this high visible energy light, and to find solutions to protect our children. Although there is no established maximum time children should be exposed to digital devices, we do know that there is a balance between the digital device and close-up work and outdoor play. It has been shown that children who have a variety of both do well, and their eyes don't tend to show changes. So I would say my recommendation is typically about 2 hours for a child, but it depends on the age. Younger children, less. Even as a parent, I struggle with limiting the exposure to digital devices, and in particular the high visible energy light from digital devices in my own children. I know the severity and the risk short term, and I'm well aware of the potential damage long term. And yet it's a task. I find that my children have to be reminded. They wonder, why am I limiting them when so many friends aren't? And there's so many issues with that, but I know the need. And if we can't solve that issue, which will be difficult, then we have to find solutions. Fortunately, nature has found a way to protect our eyes. They range from natural approaches, such as increasing our carotenoid levels. Carotenoids are actually light absorbing or protecting components. They're highly concentrated in the back of the eye. And they're responsible for absorbing any of that high visible energy light or damaging levels that would be exposed to the retina, which is the back layer. These can be added, such as supplementation, especially really good sources. We can also do things in our life to help, such as limiting screen time late in the day. If you're exposed to high visible energy light at night or right before bed, your body thinks it's the morning. And that can throw off our sleep rhythms, which then can lead to other problems like dry eye and many serious health issues. We can take time during the day to take some of the strain off of our eyes. About every 20 minutes, we might stop looking at the screen, stop looking at the digital devices, look away into the distance for at least 20 seconds, blink to try and force the tears out gently, and continue to do this on a regular basis. But if you have other issues going on, that won't solve it. Even if you limited the amount of time on a screen or on a digital device, you're still going to get significant exposure to the visible light. And what I mean by that is you can limit the strain on the eyes from looking up close for that length of time. But in order to limit the high visible light that is potentially damaging to the back of the eye and can over time lead to problems such as our ability to see fine detail, there we have to protect those layers. We can do that by eating healthy, nutritional meals. Meals that are high in colors. Colors are what provide those pigments in the back of the eye, such as our vegetables and our fruits. When it comes to prescribing medicine, there are numerous options, but none work like Blue Rex when it comes to protecting the macula and the retina from high visible energy light. And these small changes have significant impacts in our body.
We're all on our phones with terrible posture. Back to work, let's go. J-Mark, hey, stop.
I'm ready.
Give us some exercises that can help us like from this all day long.
Yeah, well,
He's like, I'm still in the iPhone days. Like, from your eyes, you have to snap
Well, one
back.
thing you have to do is correct your posture. You know,
Okay.
I think a lot. You probably see people walking with their phone, and they're just like, yeah, no. You know what the problem is? It adds a lot of pressure to your cervical spine when you're slouched over. So what you want to do is you want to be in a neutral position. Eyes forward.
Yeah, but
face
how do we
forward,
do that? Do we have to
and then-
lift our phones then? And like,
You can lift your
Exactly, you
phone.
have
You can
to.
lift your phone.
or kind of like this?
It doesn't have, you don't, because this looks weird, right?
Well,
You
that's
know, walking
then,
around
like, a
that,
lot
and
on
then
your
it put
shoulders.
Pressures on your arms and
Yeah.
shoulders. Raise it a little bit. So
Yeah.
you're not straining, you're not looking too far down, too far up.
Yeah.
Almost like you're looking at a computer. You know, when you're sitting in the computer, you want your computer to be somewhat eye level or a little bit below. Same thing with your phone.
I do this
know?
with my neck.
And it helps you to keep that neutral position if it's a little bit higher.
Yeah.
It feels awkward, but, you know,
Okay, I
it's
can do
for the
that.
back's sake.
Yeah.
You know,
Gotta do it for the
posture-wise.
back.
Yeah.
I do these exercises just
It's
to like try to
actually a
lengthen.
syndrome that's developed
Oh, okay.
that we call tech neck now. That you develop this neck strain and then it causes some shoulder tension because of this forward posture we have of looking down at our devices. So
iPhone asana is what I call it. It's a new asana in yoga called iPhone asana.
I call it caveman posture.
Caveman
the actual
posture.
the human head is like 10 to 12 pounds on average. That's
that
the
that
weight
kid
of the
from-
human head.
That's that kid. Did you know?
So when you tilt your
movie, did you know?
head forward, you're actually creating even more strain. That's up to 60 pounds of
Yeah.
stress on your spine just because you're tilting your head forward all the time.
Yeah, there's a graph that actually shows that how far your head is tilted, shows how much pressure it puts on your back.
That's an
So that's why it's
amount.
important
So how
to
do
keep it
we-
as neutral as possible
How do we prevent it?
as far as posture, being cautious about posture.
Right.
It's like sitting, you know, this is comfortable, but is it the best posture?
But
you
the
make
same
a
thing-
conscious effort to sit up.
We know people can sit on medicine balls, right? And,
Right.
and stability balls, so it provides like some training for the back.
If you're already feeling the neck tension and the pain and strain of tech neck, then there are definitely exercises that you can do. You can work on strengthening your posterior chain. You can work on range of motion exercises. We're actually just tilting your neck back and forth and then to the sides. You can do isometric strengthening where you're just resisting pressure forward, pressure backward,
That feels good.
holding each position for about 10 seconds.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, now that we're all sitting up tall
With neutral posture.
with neutral and our phones here, so we're going back to our phones now. All right. Just kidding.
Today we're going to roast a little piece of salmon with some tomatoes and some basil chiffonade. Super clean, super easy, super delicious.
You have the technique down there.
Yeah.
Not everyone can do that.
No, I think so. It's very easy. You just take a leaf of basil and you take another few leaves of basil and you wrap them together.
Wrap them.
And then
you
you
go-
start cutting and they come out nice little ribbons and it's beautiful. Like that.
Stunning.
I'm going to go over here. We're going to start cooking our salmon. We're going to start a pan.
You have your basil, you have your tomato, you have your salmon.
Yeah.
On the scale of, you know, colors, I would say, of
Yeah.
salmon, what would you call this?
I'd call that pinkish.
Okay.
And you?
I would say it'd be more on the darker side of salmon that I've seen.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to roast this off.
Right.
Get a screaming hot pan, a little bit of olive oil. Get everything started.
Delightful.
We season our salmon on one side with salt,
Okay.
a little bit of white pepper. We put the seasoning side down inside the hot oil,
Wow.
and we let it develop a crust.
Okay. And then how did you prepare the tomatoes here?
Tomatoes were roasted in the oven, just a little bit of salt and olive oil. We're gonna, after the salmon is done, we're gonna heat this up in the same pan that the salmon was cooked in.
Wonderful.
Then we're gonna put it on a plate and we're gonna enjoy it.
You mean me? I get to enjoy
Yeah,
it.
you get to.
Okay.
Yeah. So a nice crust on the outside. I'm gonna flip the salmon. I'm gonna finish it in the oven.
Wow, it's really flaming. Is that normal? Has it flame like that?
And you have a nice hot pan and a lot of oil. It flames.
Perfect.
We finish it in the oven because it's a gentle cooking process.
Okay.
If you did it in the pan the entire time, it would dry out and it really.
So
really
does it
bad.
hold in the moisture?
It does.
When you put it in the oven? Okay.
Yeah, it does. Now, while the salmon's cooking, I've arranged everything we need to finish the pan sauce.
It's a lot of butter.
A little bit of butter, not a lot. We're not gonna use all of it. Some lemon and some dill. We're gonna put in some tomatoes and some basil and make it a very Italian side dish for the salmon.
Can you talk about the plating process? Why is that so important to someone eating?
I think we eat with our eyes before we eat with our mouth,
Sure.
right?
Sure.
So to make a plate beautiful is very important. Of course, the most important thing is the nutrition and the flavor, but having something beautiful to look at is very important.
Well,
as
and even with the social media age, there's so many foodies out there taking photos, and that gets a lot of promotion to the restaurant.
Yes. We as chefs are always on stage now.
Of course.
There's no hiding in the back. There's no, I made a mistake. It's
Right.
Every mistake is amplified. That's why we do our best, and we strive to never make mistakes and make sure that every plate that goes out is as designed, perfect, beautiful.
Sure, and it starts with the plating process. So
Starts
this is
with the
going to be great to
process.
see you do this.
Awesome. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this out. It's, we've seared it on one side. We flipped it over. We put it in the oven and let it finish.
I can't wait. Let's see
Yeah,
it.
It should be beautiful.
Ooh, look at that color.
Comes out nice.
And we didn't lose any of the nutrients.
No. Comes out perfectly cooked. Omega-3s, omega-6s. Salmon is like a superfood.
Sure.
It's beautiful. So what we're going to do, let this sit for a second. We're just going to make a really quick pan sauce.
Okay. And you're using the butter and the lemon to do that?
Yeah, I'm going to start with a little bit of butter. There's already olive oil in the pan. We're going to we'll put a little bit of butter in there to emulsify
Sure.
everything.
Looks good.
Get that going. Some roasted cherry, heirloom cherry tomatoes.
Okay. And you just cut those in halves.
Cut them in half and roasted them.
Great. And we have the basil that you cut earlier.
A little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper.
I got you. I got you.
Thank you. Thank you. That's coming together very nicely.
We're blowing the roof off this place. Let's do it.
Throw in the basil.
Wow. How long did it take you to get that technique?
60 years.
Wow. So beautiful. Incredible. And people really underestimate the importance of plating and why it's so important. make it look desirable, correct? For the person that's going to be consuming it. Ooh, delightful.
A little brown butter and olive oil emulsion, and there we go.
Wow, I would take a picture of that for social media. You know, all those influencers.
Excellent.
What point do you use the dill at all on that, or is that just for
Yeah, this
looking?
finish. Squeeze a lemon. Sprig of dill.
Beautiful. Look at
have
that.
a dish.
Well done.
Thank you.
I don't even want to touch it.
Pair this with a side of leafy green vegetables, maybe some Swiss chard,
Wow.
spinach, kale, and you have a perfect meal. Omega-3s and omega-6.
Sure. And all for under about 20 minutes, correct?
Yeah, of course.
That's a quick dinner for
it's
someone on the
beautiful.
go.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh my goodness, I don't even want to touch it. It's so beautiful. So beautiful. All
Thank
right,
you.
so I get to try it now.
I hope so.
All right, here we go. Okay, I'm so excited. Here we go, guys. So moist, so savory. I have to get a tomato in there.
Yeah, you have to. Oh, nice.
It's so smooth. I love the flavor. Wow, well done.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
It is so healthy. I don't feel it's not
No.
fatty.
Not
Wonderful.
greasy.
No grease.
Got a little bit of crispness to it. It's bright. The tomatoes add acidity. The pan sauce is very simple.
Sure.
The butter is just there to kind of pull everything together.
Sure.
But you know, we cooked in olive oil. It's a wonderful dish.
Such a quick meal that you can
Yeah.
create for your family, even a date night, healthy date night.
Come on.
There you go.
I think we all understand kind of the daily challenges we're having with our eyes, but we brought in some experts to really tell us what's going on.
Yeah.
Joining us remotely today is Karen Hecht, PhD, a Scientific Affairs Manager, and Brenda Fonseca, a Cognition and Technical Services Manager who received her Master's in Cognitive Neuroscience. Welcome to both of you. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
Glad to be here.
So today we're talking about blue light and blue light damage from devices in the digital age. I'd love to hear from both of you ladies what this looks like and how we can prevent long-term damage. Karen, let's start with you.
Well, certainly Americans are spending more and more time looking at digital screens. The average is between 7.5 and 9.5 hours a day. And what that means is exposure to certain ergonomic conditions that lead to reduced blinking. Also, the muscles at the front of the eye that are involved in near focus are taxed and become strained and fatigued. And we're exposed to more and more blue light from the digital device screen usage that can actually be harmful to our vision over time.
But ladies, isn't it true that we find blue light in sun? Why is blue light such a big deal?
Yeah, that's a good point. So blue light is everywhere. So the sunlight contains blue light, the LEDs that we have in our office settings contain blue light, and certainly digital devices contain blue light. Some blue light is good. It helps us reset our sleep cycle, helps with mood, but what's happening is basically we are getting overexposed to blue light. So, and what blue light is it's actually very high energy wavelengths. So when you look at the visible spectrum, the light that we actually see with our eye, blue's on the end of the highest energy. So it can do damage to our eye. So as we're overexposed to blue light now from all these sources, sunlight, LEDs, digital devices, we have the potential to really be doing some damage to the back of our eye and where we see.
So you mentioned the back of the eye. What's the difference between the back and the front of the eye? Can you paint a picture of the eye for us?
Sure, absolutely. So we actually see with cells that are located in the very back of our eye. So it's a little counterintuitive, but light comes into our eye through the cornea, pupil, lens, and is focused, and then it goes all the way to the back. And at the very back of the eye is our retina. And if you remember back from high school biology, that's where the rods and the cones are. Those are the photoreceptors that basically allow us to see, to give us vision. And that's where really a lot of the damage can happen from that blue light that we see.
And how does that blue light coming in through the front of the eye affect the eye?
Well, certainly, the blue light that comes into the back of the eye is not something you may necessarily be able to feel, but it is affecting your vision over the long term. Whereas the front of the eye is something you could feel because what are working there are muscles that are framing the lens. And those muscles contract and they stay contracted as you're viewing something in near focus, like a digital device or a book. And so as those muscles stay contracted, they become overworked and tired, and that's where you start to feel eye strain and eye fatigue that we see associated with symptoms of what is today known as computer vision syndrome. And that's that fatigue, strain, dryness that we feel sometimes associated with secondary symptoms like headaches when we're using computer screens for prolonged periods.
It seems like in today's day and age, it's going to be really hard to avoid blue light. So how do we prevent this damage? What do we do on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, that's a great question. And you're right, we are on our devices all the time. I think there's some number, about 70% of us are actually using 2 devices at once. So that's really not avoidable. So what you want to do is you want some prevention. And actually, one thing that's very important to do is to get the right nutrients into your eye. They're called ocular nutrients. Ocular is referring to the eye. And you want to get those nutrients in there that can protect your eye. And some of those really important nutrients are called carotenoids. You can get them from the diet, but you can also get them from supplementation. So for example, lutein, zeaxanthin, astaxanthin are very important carotenoids that you can get from diet or supplementation that protect your eye from this damage and short-term strains that you get from being overexposed to these digital devices.
So what I'm hearing you say is if I eat the right things, I can build up something in my eye that helps block blue light. But how much of this kind of stuff do I have to eat?
Yep, great question as well. So the lutein and zeaxanthin are actually yellow pigments, red pigments. You find them in the colored vegetables like green leafy vegetables, kale, spinach, all the things we all love to eat, corn, avocados, eggs. And you want to eat as much of that as possible. You want to get as much from your diet. We need about 12 milligrams a day of lutein and zeaxanthin. Unfortunately, even with our best attempts at healthy diets, most of us are getting around 2 milligrams a day. So we're just not getting enough. And we recommend that in addition to this healthy diet, that you supplement.
And the options for natural astaxanthin are even more limited. Unfortunately, in our diet, we find astaxanthin in certain seafoods like salmon, lobster, crab, shrimp, prawn, but really the best source is wild salmon because it's found in the muscles of the salmon that help the endurance during their migration runs. So it's a little bit related to the story of promoting endurance in muscles at the front of the eye. Now, what we find is that the average American diet, salmon is not really something that we consume nearly enough of, and 4 to 6 milligrams a day of natural astaxanthin is what's recommended based on clinical studies to see the benefits for accommodation or dynamic focus, eye strain, and eye fatigue with natural astaxanthin.
So how much salmon do I have to eat every day?
So if you were to eat enough salmon to consume 6 milligrams of astaxanthin a day, that would translate to almost 2 servings of wild sockeye salmon every day, or 12 servings of wild king salmon every day. And that's because different types of salmon have different amounts of natural astaxanthin. And eating wild salmon would be really important if you wanted to get natural astaxanthin. And certainly that's what gives it that red coloration. So that's how you would recognize a salmon that was rich in astaxanthin, is you would see a rich red color that comes from this carotenoid that we're talking about.
I have to say that's quite a bit of salmon, and I'll eat kale, but I don't know if I can eat all that every day.
Yeah, it's really tough. You would need to eat on the lutein and zeaxanthin, maybe 3 cups of raw spinach a day, a cup of cooked spinach. Depending on how much lutein and zeaxanthin the chicken ate, on the eggs, you would need to eat up to 40 eggs a day. So it just is really tough. And also, what you eat with it is really important. So you want a certain combination of oils and fats, so it's well absorbed into the body, so you can make it accessible to where it needs to go in the eyes. So you want to really think about a high quality supplement to really help you along with a healthy diet.
Yeah. So all of these carotenoids, as Brenda mentioned, are fat-soluble nutrients, which means that they need oils to help improve or optimize the absorption, but that's also the advantage of these nutrients. It's what allows them, it's that fat-soluble property that allows them to access the eyes in the first place. So it's really part of what makes them special, is their ability to cross the blood-retinal barrier.
With the supplements you're telling us about, can you give us the levels we need to protect our eyes in the digital age?
Absolutely, and there's a number of clinical studies showing that when you take these carotenoids as supplements, you can increase the amount of actually lutein and zeaxanthin in the eye. And that's observed as actually a yellow pigment. So these molecules are yellow in foods, but when we take them, they're deposited in our eye and they actually form an area that's yellow. And that yellow area is what absorbs that blue light that we're getting from all these digital devices. So it's really protecting us, and really important we have enough yellow filter in there to help our eyes stay healthy.
Thank you both. This was really fascinating to learn more about eye health. We appreciate you being here, sharing all your knowledge, and hopefully we'll see you back on Be Life very soon.
Thanks for having us.
That would be great. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us in today's action-packed episode of Be Life. We love bringing health and wellness information your way, so make sure you hit us up on social media and send us your questions and comments. On our next show, we'll tackle a problem that affects all of us, inflammation. Stay tuned for all the exciting things we have in the show. Until then, be well, be now, be healthy, be life.
How about that A?
How about that, A? Whoa, that was crazy. That could be your eye. You can.